Hello, my dear students. Myself, Sheikh Gurnaz. Now I am here with the topic of Bhakti cult and Sufi heritage for the student of 7th standard, and it is a subject of social science. Dear students, here in this chapter you are going to learn about the South and North Indian Bhakti cult, the peoples those who have started the Bhakti cult and Sufi heritages. In South and North India, Alwars and Dasas, and in North India, saints and Sufis created social awakening through Bhakti cult. Here, students, Bhakti cult is nothing but culture. In this lesson, the objectives, meaning, and the features of Bhakti cult are discussed. In Southern India, Andal, Akka Mahadevi, Kanakadas, Purandara Dasa, and Shishonala Sharif are introduced. Similarly, in North India, Kabir Das, Guru Nanak, Tulsidas, Mirabai, Sri Chaitanya, and Sufi saints are introduced. The harmony these faiths together have achieved despite their diverse is nothing but different religions, faiths, and their endowments towards enriching the vernacular languages. Here, student, vernacular is nothing but ordinary people of a country or a religion speaking this language are discussed here. Now let us start the lesson. Indian society is inclusive of many cultures. You can see, students, in our India we can see many religions are there, right? So in this society, caste system, superstitions and pseudo rituals were deep rooted. For example, students, what here is in our society we can see superstitious belief is there. If something has happened, it will be like upshagun and all. And pseudo, it is nothing but fake things are they used to believe, and it is very deep rooted in our minds. It was believed that attaining moksha, that is salvation, saving someone from saving someone from, we can say, by their they have any problem and all, if we are saving them, it is nothing but moksha. For common people was impossible, they cannot save the life of people. So the medieval society was under the impression that the common people were not eligible for such a destiny. So during this period, so students, for the common peoples, they cannot attain this salvation. Salvation is nothing but, students, saving someone's life. If they are going any problem is there or health problem is there, they cannot treat the common people. So like this, during this period, sense of Bhakti cult and Sufi traditions brought in a social and religious reformations. So they stressed the importance of global brotherhood and taught the Bhakti is the best way to attain moksha. So they what they taught us is, students, they taught us that we should live globally, like if we are living in a society, so we should live like a brother and sisters, like this brotherhood should be there, and taught them that bhakti is the best way to attain moksha. For example, if we have faith in ourselves, so we can attain this. So this path is called bhakti cult. The word bhakti is from the Sanskrit word bhuj. Bhuj means the knowledge. So here they are giving the knowledge of culture to the peoples by new methods and by reformations. Now let us see the general meaning of bhakti cult. Here, students, gist of bhakti cult. Gist is nothing but a general meanings. Now you are going to learn about the knowledge culture. Bhakti cult condemned discrimination, it preached equality. So it condemned about, it will remove the discrimination. If we are living in, we are having a bhakti faith and all, so we don't have any discrimination between like rich poor and like according to the basis of religion and caste, they will be not having any discrimination and all if we are attending the bhakti. So it preached equality. The sense of bhakti cult opposed and condemned superstitious practices. For example, students, it will remove it out superstitious practices. As I said you that they used to believe something, it has been went wrong, means they used to fit in their mind it will be went wrong and all. This superstitious belief was there. So they undertook the task of uniting the hearts of people. According to Sufi saints, dharma is love and service to mankind. God is one, not many, they preach. So they used to say that, they used to teach to the peoples like that. Dharma, sense. Dharma is love, service to mankind. So God is only one, not many. They preach like this, they used to teach the people. Now let us see about the bhakti heritage in South India. The peoples, those who have given a reformation, have taken reformation, and those have explained the reformation and all. Here, first one is Andal. Andal is one among the 12 Alwars. The Vishnu devotees of Tamil Nadu. She was an adopted daughter of Vishnu Chitta. Vishnu Chitta was an Alvar. They were also Pariyalvar. Andal's original name was Goda Devi. They were devotees of Krishna. So she used to preach like their students in. You can see in Hindu religion they were having. They used to do perform pujas. They used to believe in different gods. So they used to believe someone's in Shiva, Vishnu. So they were having the faith on that god and all. So they were devotees of Krishna here. Who was the devotee of Krishna? Andal. So her father was making flower garlands and offered it to Krishna temple of Sri Villiputhur. Andal loved Krishna and she claimed that he was her husband. So what they used to do before students, if they are having bhakti about that, so they love the Bhagwan and they used to believe that God is their husband. So here Andal loved Krishna very much. So she claimed that Krishna is her husband. She wrote Tirupamai and dedicated it to God. In Tamil Nadu, Tirupamai Viratha write a ceremony religious observance. This is a religious observance ceremony is a very famous. According to Alvars, all Vishnu devotees are equal and their birth should not be questioned. So according to these students, according to this religion ceremony, all are here according to Alvars, all Vishnu devotees are equal and their birth should not be questioned. For example, students, if they are performing pujas, if they are having faith on Vishnu, they are the followers of Vishnu and all, so they will all are equal if they are following the same and their birth should not be questioned. Caste discrimination is a criminal offense, they believe. So they used to believe that caste discrimination is a criminal offense, they believe. So now let us see about Akka Mahadevi. Akka Mahadevi was an enterprising woman in the Vachana movement to 12th century. She has made immense contribution to Vachana literature. She was born on Uduttadi of Shivamogga district. Her father was Nirmala Shetty and mother Sumhati. Akka immersed in Shiva Bhakti since her childhood. She claimed Chinna Mallikarjun himself to be her husband. Her parents, for example, what happened is she used to believe she claimed that Chinna Mallikarjun himself is to be her husband. Her parents forcibly got her married to King Kaushika. She found it to be a hindrance, headache to her service to Guru, Linga, Jangama, so she left the palace. Later she stayed at Anubhava Mantapa in Kalyana for some time. There she wrote many vachanas under the pen name Chinna Mallikarjuna. She was respected by all Shiva Sharanas. She left Kalyana and went to Srishel towards the end of her life. To end her life, she went to Srishel also. It is a holy place of Hindu religion. She left her mortal body in the Kadali forest of Srishel. This was about the Akka Mahadevi students. She was a Bhakti heritage in South India. So got it about this students Akka Mahadevi. She was an enterprising. Enterprising is nothing but showing a cause of a process to begin. She was a beginner of Vachana movement of 12th century and she has made immense contribution to the Vachana literature. She was born in Uduthadi of Shivamogga district. Her father was Nirmala Shetty and mother Sumhati. Akka immersed in Shiva Bhakti since her childhood only and she claimed that Chinna Mallikarjun himself to be her husband. And her parents, what happened after that when she claimed that, what happened, her parents forcibly got her married to the king Kaushika. So she found it hindrance, headache by that. So she was not able to do this service to the Guru, Linga and Jangama. So because of that, what happened? She left that palace. Later she stayed in Anubhava Mantapa in Kalyana for some times. There she wrote many vachanas under the pen name, under the Chinna Mallikarjuna, because she used to claim that Chinna Mallikarjuna was her husband. She was respected by all Shiva Sharanas. Okay. Then she left Kalyana and went to Srishel towards the end of her life. She left her mortal body in the Kadali forest of Srishela. Now let us see about Purandara Dasa. He was from 1480 to 1564 CE. He is one of the important person in Kannada Dasa literature. Okay, Purandara Dasa was born in Purandara Gada. His original name was Srinivasa Nayaka. His father was Paradappa Nayaka and mother Leelavati. Wife Lakshmi Bai was a religious woman. Srinivasa Nayaka was a miser. Here students, miser is nothing but a person who have a secret of money. So he used to spend little. So here he was a miser and an atheist. Atheist is nothing but a belief of a belief of God does not exist. He used to believe that much on God. So later he distributed all his wealth to the needy people and spent rest of his life in the thought of God. He travelled to many places singing kirtanas, and at last he reached the Krishna Devaraya's court. Vyasaraya gave him Diksha and called him as Purandara. Later he became Purandaradasa. We can see humanness in all his songs. He condemned caste system. We also see the combination of philosophy, moral and musical qualities in his songs. He is known as Karnataka Sangeeta Pitamaha, father of Carnatic music. He wrote Kirtanas with the pen name of Purandara Vittala. He was praised by his own guru teacher Vyasaraya as Purandara Dasa, in ultimate as a Dasa. So students, here about Purandara Dasa is, you can see students, he is a one important person in the Kannada Dasa literature. So he was born in Purandara Gada, and his original name was Srinivasa Nayaka. His father was Varadappa Nayaka and mother was Leelavati. Wife Lakshmi Bai was a religious woman. Srinivasa Nayaka was a miser. Here students, he was having more money, secret money. Then also he used to spend little. So as he was an atheist, as I said you that he was having that much belief on God that has been never exist. Later he distributed all his that secret money to the people, those who are required that money, poor people. So after that he was in the life in thought of only God. He used to think always of God. Then he traveled many places by singing kirtanas, and at last he reached Krishna Devaraya's court, a ruler. Then Vyasaraya gave him Diksha and called him as Purandara. Here students, what happened, later he became a Purandara Dasa. We can see his humanness in all his songs. He used to say about the whenever we can hear that songs, the about this Purandara Dasa, we can get the humanness. So he condemned caste system. We also see the combination of philosophy, moral and musical qualities in his songs. He is also known as the Karnataka Sangeeta Pitamaha. Here about that we can say, by translating in English, father of Carnatic music. He wrote Kirtanas with the pen name of Purandara Vittala. He was praised by his own guru. He was taught by his own teacher, that is Vyasaraya. As I said, students, guru is nothing but teacher. As Purandara Dasa is ultimate as Dasa. So now let us see about Kanaka Dasa. He was from 1508 to 1606 CE. Kanakadas is one of the famous Kirtanakaras of Dasa literature. As I said you, he used to sing the Kirtana. Here Purandara Dasa was a person who used to sing that song, that Kirtana. So here Kanakadas used to by that singing that Kirtanas also, he also became famous as in literature. He was born about 1508 CE at Bhada village of Bankapura, Taluk in Haveri district. So Timmappa was his original name. Kanakadas' original name was Timmappa. Birappa and Bachamma were his parents. He was a warrior and also a poet. Okay, he headed a group of over 78 villages. It is said that he found a pot full of gold and he came to be known as Kanaka Nayaka. So when he fall, we used to believe students treasures and all, it will be found gold or something we can find in some villages, in old places and all. So he also found the pot of gold. So after getting that, he was known as Kanaka Nayaka. He renounced worldly things and became a disciple of Vyasaraya. Later he came to be known as Kanaka Dasa. He has composed many kirtanas with a pen name of Adikeshava. Adikeshava was his personal god. He has criticized the superstitions of the society in his songs and has preached the simple path of attaining moksha in them. He has also criticized caste system in his songs. So students, as you can see, these are the peoples, those who have by their talent and all, they shows that about bhakti, they explained about bhakti culture and all. And you can see about this important South Indian heritage, bhakti heritages, that one of Andal you got about that Akka Mahadevi and Purandara Dasa, about and Kanaka Dasa. Just now I said you that he was a famous Kirtanakaras of Dasa literature, and he was born about 1508 CE at Bada village of Bankapura Taluk in Haveri district. And I said his name was Timmappa, and he was a warrior and also a poet. He had headed a group of over 78 villages. He was a head, and it is said that he found a pot full of gold, and because of that he got to be known as Kanaka Nayaka. So renounced worldly things and became a disciple of Vyasaraya, as he was become a student of Vyasaraya. And what happened next? He got about that he composed many kirtanas with the pen name of Adi Keshava. So all here the bhakti people, one common thing is about that, to whom they used to believe more, they have wrote that literature based on them only. So he wrote about Adi Keshava. He was a personal god of Kanakadasa. So he has criticized the superstitious of the society and has preached the simple path. He teaches the simple path of attaining moksha in them. Now let us see about the Kanakana Kindi. The priest of Udupi temple stops Kanaka from entering the temple. Okay, the priest, the peoples, royal peoples, what they does, the of Udupi temple stops Kanaka from entering the temple. It is said that Lord Krishna, pleased by his devotion, turned his face towards west for Kanaka. This was named as Kanakana Kindi. Kanaka Dasa wrote Hari Bhakti Sara, Neela Charitri, Rama Dhyana Chariti, Shatpadi epics, Mohana Tirangini, the Sangeeta Kavya. This was the literature which were wrote by Kanakadasa. Now let us see about Shishunala Sharifa. Shishunala Sharifa is the first Kannada Muslim mystic poet. He is known as Kabira of Karnataka. He was born in 1819 CE at Shishunala. His parents were Imam Sahib, mother Hajamma. He studied both Hindu and Islamic religion in his childhood. Later he passed his Mulki exams and served as teacher for some time. He took Diksha from Govinda Bhatta and wrote many Tattvapadas, in which poems one can find Rivayat, Moharam words, we can say Rivayat. Among those, songs Kalaga Pada, Dharmika Nitipada, Alavipada, Sawal Jawab Pada are famous. We can see his grave in Shishunala. He tried to spread humanity beyond the barriers of caste and religion. So this was about Shishunala Sharifa, students. He was the first Kannada Muslim mystic poet. So he is known as Kabira of Karnataka. So he was born in 1819 CE at Shishunala. His parents were Imam Sahib, mother Hajamma, and he studied both Islamic religion and Hindu religion in his childhood. And this shows that how much he was interested in studies. Later he passed his Mulki exams, okay, and served as teacher for some time. He took the Diksha from Govinda Bhatta and wrote many Tadvapadas. Okay, in his poems, not only he wrote about the Muslim religion but also about Hindu religion, because he was having the knowledge of both the religions. Got it? Now that he wrote the things like Rivayat of Moram verse. Among those songs, Kalagapada, Dharmika, Nitipada, Alavipada, Sawal Jawab Pada, these are famous. We can see these grave in Shishu Nala. He tried to spread humanity beyond the barriers of caste and religion. He was not having any caste and about caste discrimination he was not having in his mind. So beyond of this he used to teach the people. Okay students. Now next we have that is Bhakti heritage of North India. Okay, now let us see about North Indians Bhakti heritages. First we have that is Kabir Das. He was from 1398 to 1518 CE. He is one of the famous saint of Bhakti cult and was a disciple of Ramananda. he is the followers of Ramananda. He tried to bring harmony between Hindu and Muslim religions. He was an adopted son of waving Muslim couple Nehru and Nima of Varanasi. He condemned caste system, luxurious life, and discrimination based on religion. Allah and Rama are the two names of one God, he said. He described Hindu and Muslims as a pots of same clay. Here, students, as he was a famous saint of Bhakti culture, he was a student of Ramananda. He tried to bring harmony, peace between Hindu and Muslim religion. So he was a adopted son of waving Muslims. What happened? This was a son which has been founded somewhere. His original parents were Nehru. For example, he got somewhere. So his parents were Nehru and Nima of Varanasi. He condemned caste systems, luxurious life, and discrimination based on religion. So he was against about this caste system, luxurious life, and discrimination based on religion. So Allah and Rama used to believe that Allah and Rama are the two names of same God, and he described Hindu and Muslim as a pots of same clay. So Kabir told that he is the son of Rama and Allah. According to him, it is not possible to see God by fasting or torturing the body, sacred pilgrimage. It is the only possible by sacred devotion. It taught his philosophy through Doha, two-line poems, which is simple and easy to understand by common man. His followers are called Kabir Panthis. So students, here Kabir Das, what he does is, he used to say that he is the son of Rama and Allah. So according to him, it is not possible to see God by fasting or by torturing body or by sacred pilgrimages. For example, we are building the temples and all mosques and all by spending money and all. That does not show that you have a bhakti and all. That is for only for showing the people. It should be from your heart, that it is only possible by sacred devotion. Okay, he taught his philosophy through Doha. He used to teach the people his philosophy by two lines poems, which is simple and easy to understand by common men. His followers are called Kabir Panthis. Okay, this was about students Kabir Das. Next we have, that is Guru Nanak. So this will be you will be getting about this in next video. So students, it's better whichever, if you have doubt and questions relating to this topic, you can ask me on my personal number at WhatsApp. So students, whichever important points is there, so please note it down, and thank you for watching my video.